you matter. Whoever's listening to this, you matter. If your little circle, it only takes you one person to be kind to, and it's easy. Write someone a note, open the door for everybody that's behind you, smile at everyone you see. It's really easy. It doesn't take too much effort to just put it in your mind to be kind to one person every day.
This episode is sponsored by TherapyNotes, therapynotes.com. Be sure and check them out, and be sure and use the promo code Gordon, Gordon, and you can try them out for 2 months for free. Over 15 years ago, when I started my private practice, I had to learn a lot, and most of it the hard way, and I don't think you need to do the same. Hi, I'm Gordon Brewer, a licensed psychotherapist, and welcome to the Practice of Therapy podcast, part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts. Join me in this journey of discovery as we have conversations with other leaders and professionals in both the mental and allied health fields. Join us as we explore both the business and clinical sides of running a private practice. Hello, friends, and welcome to the podcast. This is episode number 357 of the Practice of Therapy podcast. I'm Gordon Brewer. Glad you've joined us, and hope you'll take time to follow us or subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. So my guest in this episode is Crystal Adams Scott, and Crystal is one of the founders or the person behind an organization you're going to learn about called HopeUnite.org. And it is focused on suicide prevention, but also just teaching people how to show more kindness and compassion in their lives. One of the things that I think this episode is doing is that it's really coming out at a good time, just in the life for most of us, especially living here in the United States. We've just finished the election season, and the election has occurred. And I would just say that regardless of whether you were pleased with the outcome or not pleased with the outcome, regardless of how you feel about the outcome, just remember that there are people that feel quite the opposite, depending on which way you voted and that sort of thing. And I don't want to, obviously don't want to make this political, but just, I think one of the things that Crystal is doing is really getting people down to the things that matter most in our lives, and just the places in which we all individually might be hurting or might be struggling with things. And I think getting away from a lot of the rhetoric and really getting back to focusing on ways in which we support each other rather than divide ourselves. So I'll just say that and leave it at that. But anyway, before we get to my conversation with Crystal, one of the things I'd also like to point you to is my friend Ashley's store, and it is mentalhealthwaretn.com. You've heard me mention it on the podcast before. And if you're looking for some great swag to kind of spread the message of kindness and compassion, but also showing pride in your profession, she has got just tons of great ideas and things there for you to look at. And you can use the promo code, just take 20 to get 20% off your first order from her store. And so be sure and check that out, mentalhealthwaretn.com. And also, before we get to my conversation with Crystal, I'd love for you to hear from one of the members of the Psychcraft network, along with some words from our sponsor of the podcast, TherapyNotes. When starting a private practice as a therapist, counselor, or life coach, things can feel a bit overwhelming. You're unsure where to start, what to focus on, or how to grow things. I've been in private practice now for over 18 years, and a lot has changed. I've helped countless clinicians avoid a lot of the common pitfalls and build successful practices that align with their values and lifestyle. My coaching and consulting services are all about giving you a focused plan, helping you set clear priorities, and understand exactly where to invest your time, energy, and money. We'll work on defining your niche and then how to market it, ensuring that you build a practice that's both impactful and enjoyable. I'll also teach you the business skills they don't cover in grad school, from financial planning to implementing systems that make your practice run smoothly, like a well-oiled machine. In addition, I can help you find ways to diversify your income streams and create financial stability for long-term growth. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your practice to the next level, I'm here to guide you in every step of the way. Let's work together to turn your vision into a thriving, fulfilling reality. To apply and find out more, just go to practiceoftherapy.com/coaching and consulting. That's practiceoftherapy.com/coaching and consulting. And also you can book a free 15-minute discovery call with me to talk about your goals and vision. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hi there. I'm super excited to welcome you back to the brand new season of Scaling Therapy Practice podcast. This is the show where we encourage you to take deliberate steps towards sustainable growth. I'm your host, James Marland. In season 2, we're specifically focused on one main topic: marketing for mental health providers. Every week, we're going to share about different parts of marketing, giving you simple tips and tricks to grow your mental health business. Every episode from season 2 will have a download or a handout from the show. So sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss these valuable resources. Good news, I'm not going to be doing the show alone. I've got some awesome friends who are going to be joining me from the SciCraft Network. You're going to hear from Lisa Mustard, Steve Bisson, Dawn Gabriel, and other special guests. We've joined forces for this season to share helpful advice on things we've learned and even the mistakes we've made so that you don't have to make them. As the weeks go by, listen to us cover lots of topics on marketing, such as social media, how to market your own therapist, how to speak in public, and even how to start your own podcast or even just guest on podcast shows. We really want to hear from our listeners, so send us your questions, your comments, your thoughts to james@coursecreationstudio.com. That's james@coursecreationstudio.com. Make sure you check out season 1, which is out now, and it has lots of tips on scaling your therapy practice. Just go to coursecreationstudio.com and click the podcast section. So join us every Monday. We're going to learn a lot about intentional and sustainable growth for your therapy practice.
Ready to upgrade your practice from a rusty bicycle to a shiny new sports car? Buckle up, because TherapyNotes is here to turbocharge your journey. It's the comprehensive practice management system you've been craving, equipped with everything you need to navigate patient records, schedule seamlessly, host remote sessions, craft detailed notes, and tackle insurance billing with ease. And guess what? It's your trusty sidekick, available whenever and wherever duty calls. Picture having more quality time with your clients, all thanks to this digital assistant that never clocks out. Here's the kicker. It's Gordon approved, so you can trust it's the real deal. Bid farewell to paperwork headaches and embrace a new era of efficiency and top-tier care. Ready to level up your private practice game? Swing by practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes and punch in promo code GORDON for 2 months on the house. Enjoy the show.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really happy for you to get to know in this episode Crystal Adams Scott. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you, Gordon, for having me on the show.
Well, I'm excited about our conversation. We were chatting a good bit before we started recording, and Crystal's doing some stuff that I think we're all pretty passionate about, and that is suicide prevention awareness. And I'm excited for you to learn about her organization, hopeunite.org. But Crystal, as I start with everyone, why don't you tell folks a little more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed?
Thanks, Gordon. Well, in 2017, we lost my husband to suicide. He left a son behind who was 2 at the time. And I really didn't understand what he was going through until around 2020, when the whole world stopped, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to process my feelings and really realized what he was feeling like, because I didn't want to be there at the moment. I felt those feelings of not wanting to have to wake up and do it again. But I had my children, therefore I felt like I had to. But at that moment, there was such a deep empathy for the pain that he was in, that I just had this thought. I'm like, so many other people are going through this. Is there anything that we can do to help? So my son and I, he was 4 or 5 at the time, got these positive affirmation cards and started going around our community, passing out these cards to people. And it was creating this connection that was beautiful, and it was healing on both ways. So it would connect to the person's heart, but it also was helping us heal, because we were able to do something with the pain and create a purpose from it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And it's just Crystal was sharing with me before we started just the card. And for those that might be seeing the video, I'm sure she'll share it with us, but it's just a simple card that says you matter. And then on the other side, it's got information for suicide prevention, the suicide prevention hotline, and that sort of thing. But one of the things you were saying, Crystal, is you're building more of a network and also providing actual support through a call center.
Correct. So through that act of kindness that we started doing, my son and I thought, how can we get more people involved in this? And so that's where Hope Unite began. And we have these very simple cards. It's got a purple rose on it that my daughter actually drew this as part of her healing process. And the message is you matter, because it's the message that I really believe that if my husband would have received on the day that he took his life, he may really still be here, because that's the lie that that you think in your head, is that, oh, life would be better off without me, or my life doesn't really matter, or, my trauma is so bad, I just can't get through it. And I'm saying this because I felt all of those feelings. But the truth is that you do matter. So we started passing these cards out. And then on the back of the card, it invites the receiver to either join us and spread the message with other people. We call it the rose that never dies. My son made that up, actually. So he goes up to people and he'll say, "Can I give you a rose?" That's his icebreaker phrase. And everyone says yes. And he goes, "It's the rose that never dies, to remind you that you're special." So that's kind of what we share with our volunteers, who are boots on the ground workers that are giving these out every day all over the United States. And even in it's reached 16 countries, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. So either 13 or 16. So on the back of the cards, if the person's in crisis, we send them to 988, which is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. But then there's the question, are you in need of support? Because if you're in need of support, reach out to us and we're going to help you find it. So what these cards are, is they're a kind connection tool, but also a resource for someone who's silently suffering, to have them reach out to us. So as the organization has grown, and it's Hope Unite International, at the website is hopeunite.org, where you can go find out more ways to get involved. As we continued to grow, we were getting a lot of support requests. So we actually have now a call center for people to call that are in need of help. And we have volunteers, care coordinators that go out into the community and find the support that's available for them that they don't know about. So we cut out the minutia. Because when you're in a traumatic mindset, a lot of times you're not looking for support. Many times it needs to come find you. And so that's what these cards are about. So we have people reach out to us all the time. We go out into the community, we find them the support, and then we do the connecting. So it takes out the stress of finding support or being put on hold or sent to another organization or just being handed a list of resources. It's going to take you 4 hours to go through and call. We do that for you. So what we're doing is we're building a network of support for anybody who is in the mind, body, spirit, health space. We're looking for people who are passionate about helping others, passionate about their lives making a difference in other people's lives, that are passionate about service to the community, and we're asking them to join our network. So we've been building this network for a while now. We have therapists, we have holistic healers, we have spas, we even have people that are willing, like elder support. But we're building this network so that when people call in, we have already vetted the really good organizations and businesses that are there to help the community, and we can just make the connection a little bit easier.
Yes, that's great. That's great. So with your call center, how does that work? Is it volunteers that just are on call for the call center?
Yes. So we actually reached out to retired veterans or retired police officers, anybody who has been in the space of service to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked them if they would like to volunteer. And many of them have come up and said, yes, I would like to be somebody who answers the support calls. So we're building that also. So if you're someone who is interested in helping answer support calls, we would love for you to volunteer with us, especially if you are in that space in your life. If you've ever been, a veteran, we have a lot of retired veterans actually that are helping out in that area.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. And I think that's just a whole segment of the population, particularly people that have gone through a lot of trauma or maybe suffering from PTSD and that sort of thing, that are at risk for having suicide, as we refer to in the clinical world. Suicidal ideations is the clinical term for, somebody that's thinking about suicide. Yeah. And so with getting people to the help that they need, what are some of the other avenues that you have besides therapists and that sort of thing? Because I know that can vary across the country as far as, where people can find help.
Well, it's interesting because it does vary across the country. So we do have a lot of therapists we do have some therapists, let me say that correctly, that have onboarded that are able to do telehealth anywhere. But we also are looking for, we even have a yoga instructor that does trauma healing. So we're looking for anything that's in the holistic health space, the mental health space, or the spiritual health space, because we come together as firm believers that we're a 3-part being. And so taking care of those 3 parts, we even have a nutritionist. So taking care of those 3 parts creates balance. And a lot of times that helps us navigate life's challenges. So that's what our goal is to really help someone full circle with wherever they're going through. We do have a lot of treatment centers. Speaking of addiction, we just placed 4 people in treatment this month. We were able to vet that really well, and it's going really well. We have had people that were suicidal and bipolar that we've been able to connect to the right therapist, because sometimes there, like you were saying, there's all sorts of different types of treatment. There's also sorts of different types of therapeutic healing techniques. But that doesn't mean it's going to fit for everybody, which is another part of why we're doing what we're doing, because we really want to make the correct fit for that person. We have a pretty extensive questionnaire that our care coordinators ask the people in need of support, so that we really know what we're looking for them.
Right. And so with your volunteers, how do you, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, how is it that you vet them to make sure that they're going to be, I guess, kind of cut out for doing this kind of work?
Well, we have 2 volunteer positions right now. We have a couple office things going on and like in the community here in South Florida. But our volunteer positions we have people giving the cards out, and that's anywhere. Doing 1 act of kindness a day. We actually give them a packet that gives them monthly. We keep in contact with them monthly, And we give them this little piece of paper for them to fill out. How many cards did they give out that day? What act of kindness did they participate in? So we're really focusing a lot of our volunteers on getting the movement out. So that's easier to vet. And then we have our care coordinator team. And typically I do the interviewing personally. And it's either somebody who has been, like I said, a retired veteran, a retired police officer, or in that kind of workspace, so that they're already prepared for this type of work.
Right.
So that's how we do it.
And and I think what's great about this is that, to me, at least to me, the number one cause of suicide, if you were to cut away everything, would be people having a sense of loneliness and a sense of hopelessness. And so I think for anybody to make contact with them and just have that human contact is really what is the most healing part of it all. And it might be that they're not necessarily doing anything clinical with the person other than just being present with them and being with them.
Perfect example. Last weekend, actually, there was a elderly woman that called in that needed some help cleaning her house because she couldn't bend and do the things she used to do. So we got a team of 6 girls. It just happened to be girls, could be men too. 6 women that went over to her house, her 1-bedroom apartment, and we did everything she needed within an hour and a half. And she felt like I can't even tell you how special she expressed to us that she felt. And she wants to get involved as a volunteer. And that wasn't the motivation, but that's what happens. So she wants to start passing out the cards. It's like the vision that I have for Hope Unite is this. For every person that's went through a traumatic experience over the past 5 years, which I would say a majority of the population has experienced some sort of trauma in the past 5 years. If they would just reach out to one person every day and let them know their life is valuable because their life is valuable. See what I'm saying? If we all did something easy like that once a day, imagine the world change that would be made. Honestly, think about it. And it's not that hard to do. So that's really, I like to encourage people to do that. And the reason I kind of caveated the service that we did this weekend was we got 6 girls to go over there, right? And do this work for this woman in a 1-bedroom apartment that took us an hour and a half. If we only had 2, it might have taken us 4 hours. And we all got to reap the benefits of that positive energy, how happy and grateful the woman was that we were able to serve her. And we all left there feeling amazing and purposeful and caring. And kindness is a reward in itself. It raises the serotonin and dopamine in our brain. So this is, it's not just saying, hey, go be kind and that's it. It's a full circle win-win. This is a win-win for everybody. So it's a great mental health tool, is being kind, and positive affirmations we believe in, self-care tips we offer people. We're very big into supporting the whole human.
Yes, I love that. I love that. One of the things that I'll mention, Crystal, is that in addition to this podcast, I have another podcast. It's been on hold for the last year, just with all that I've gone through, as we were talking about with the loss of my wife at the last year. But the title of that podcast is, incidentally, the Kindness and Compassion Podcast. And so maybe we'll use some of this and that podcast as well. But you're exactly right. I think that having just simple acts of kindness with people is really what can be so transformative for people's lives, but also just changing the world. I mean, as you and I both know, there's so much polarization in the world right now, as far as, divisiveness and all of that sort of thing. And I think, my hope is we can begin to change that.
I'm on board. Anything. I am on board, because it's funny. I would always say it's not a small group of people doing a little. It's a large, doing a lot. Sorry. It's not a small group of people doing a lot that's going to create world change. it's a lot of people doing a little together, right?
Right.
Every time when I talk about Hope Unite and the You Matter movement, because that's what it's called, Hope Unite is we are a movement of kindness, connection, and support. That's what this is all about. And so just little acts of kindness like this is such a great tool. I can't tell you the beauty that has come from this simple little card. I mean, and the responses and the people that have gotten involved. It's been such a healing and a blessing for me to even be able to be a part of this, because every time somebody gives me accolades like, oh, it's so great what you're doing, my response is, I just said yes. I just said yes to what I believe I was put here to do. And everybody has the opportunity every day to have an intentional act of kindness. See, there's a difference. People talk about do a random act of kindness. What if we all did an intentional act of kindness and we did it together? So yeah, that is the vision.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I was reminded of one of the, when I'm doing mindless stuff of watching new YouTube, a lot of what I like to watch are people doing acts of kindness, small ways. I mean, just across the board. I mean, just with different things, particularly helping kind of the homeless population, all of that sort of thing, of being able to, look for those little ways of doing things.
I'm just asking this to know if you know it, because I just read it not so long ago that even watching people doing kind things raises the serotonin and dopamine in your brain.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's amazing how powerful kindness is. And it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. So Thank you for letting me be here.
Yes. So, Crystal, tell folks a little bit more about how they can get in touch or get involved or get some of the cards for their offices and that sort of thing.
That's definitely what we're looking for. So the more people involved, the more people are being given the message, right? And then the more people we're able to help and support. So every person involved, their effort is valuable. So the ways you get these cards is you can go to hopeunite.org. It's not united. A lot of people like to say that. So it's HOPEUNITE.org. And you can get the cards on the website and we'll send you out a package. If you're in the mind, body, spirit, health space and you'd like to join our network, reach out to us. You can find out some more information about our support network online, or you can email me directly at crystal@hopeunite.org, and I'll connect you to our Teresa, who handles all of our network onboarding. That would be great, because the more people we have to help support, the easier it is for our care coordinators to find it for the people that need it, right?
Awesome.
So that's another way. And yeah, everything's pretty much on the website.
All right.
I want to put out our support hotline number. If there is anybody that needs support that you think could use what we're doing, use some help finding it, our number is 1-855-571-HOPE, which is 4673.
Awesome. And we'll have links in the show notes and the show summary for people to find that easily. So, well, Crystal, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Any other closing thoughts before we stop?
Yes, you matter. Whoever's listening to this, you matter. If your little circle, it only takes you one person to be kind to, and it's easy. Write someone a note, open the door for everybody that's behind you, smile at everyone you see. It's really easy. It doesn't take too much effort to just put it in your mind to be kind to one person every day.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Crystal. And hopefully we'll be able to connect again. Well, a big thanks to Crystal for joining me on the podcast. podcast. I hope you found some inspiration with the work that she's doing, and hope that you'll reach out to her and Hope Unite at hopeunite.org. I just got through ordering some of the cards for us to give out here at my practice, and the ones that I got had wildflower seeds embedded in them, so I thought that was pretty cool. So, but be sure and check it out. And also, I think the message of just us all learning how to be kinder with people. We do a pretty good job of that as therapists and counselors, but I'd have to remind myself sometimes too that I need to do a better job of that myself. But anyway, be sure and check it out. And also be sure and check out my friend Ashley's store, mentalhealthwaretn.com, and check out all the great swag and t-shirts and ideas that she's got there for gifts that you can give with the upcoming holidays. I think it's a good thing to check out. So again, mentalhealthwaretn.com. And also take a look at our sponsor, TherapyNotes. You can check them out by going to practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes. And if you'll use the promo code Gordon, just Gordon, you can try them out for 2 months for free. They are, in my mind, the leading electronic health record system for mental health providers. As you've heard me say, I use it in my practice and absolutely can get behind what it does and how it helps me run my practice. And also, it's just so cost effective. You're absolutely going to get the return on your investment with TherapyNotes. That's one thing I promise. And also, just the fact that they're constantly improving it and upgrading things and adding new features all the time. So be sure and check it out, practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes, and use that promo code Gordon, just Gordon. And looking forward to some more great guests on the podcast. It's hard to believe that we're in November already and things are starting to wind down towards the holidays and just starting to get a whole different feel in the air. So take care, folks. Take time to follow us and subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. And we'll talk to you again next week. You've been listening to the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer, part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts. You can find out more about the other great podcasts in the network by visiting psychcraftnetwork.com. And if you haven't done so already, please visit us at practiceoftherapy.com and get your free private practice startup guide, along with a lot of other great resources and webinars and free things just by visiting. Also, be sure to follow us wherever you might be listening to your podcasts. This podcast is intended to be educational in purpose and is not intended to give legal, accounting, or counseling advice. If you need a professional, find the right person for that.